Hi, Lauren here from The Happiest Woman Alive, and today I want to talk about something that I think is really important for everyone who's having weight loss surgery or has had weight loss surgery. And I've done a lot of research lately trying to figure out the difference between those who have stayed on track and lost the weight and kept it off in the long run and those who have regained. Because I believe that's our biggest fear, is not losing and regain. I know that regain is one of my biggest issues. I got sick and I gained back 5 pounds and I had a panic attack. But I figured out what it was. And there's something that people who keep the weight off have that people who regain don't have. And it's self-discipline. Self-discipline, I mean, it sounds so obvious. Well, yeah, obviously they have self-discipline and I don't. But then I figured it out. Self-discipline is just willpower. Now, willpower is kind of this elusive thing that I never really understood until I had weight loss surgery. And I remember right after I had surgery, I didn't want anything. I didn't feel good. I didn't want to eat anything. And then all of a sudden I started healing and I was like, I want to eat now. Like, I can eat things that I couldn't eat for the past 2 months. What could I have? And I started thinking of all the horrible things I used to eat. Now, this is when I discovered that I just went through massive surgery. I just altered my body and I need to make better choices. And I needed to build up that willpower. So, I needed to figure out what willpower was so I could effectively create more. And what I discovered is willpower is the ability to resist short-term temptation for long-term gratification. I had to say no to the little things I wanted now with the eye on the goal in the future. If you don't have a goal, you're not going to resist. If you don't think you want to lose weight, then why are you going to resist temptation of something that's not good for you? If you don't want to be healthy, you're not going to resist eating something that's unhealthy. So if you want to increase your willpower, you have to increase your strength, but you also have to give yourself a goal. Give yourself a goal of what you're going to do. One goal: don't try to diet, exercise, quit smoking, quit drinking, and all this at the same time. You're going to deplete your storage of willpower instantly. Now, when I say you're going to deplete your storage, we're going to imagine that willpower is like a jar. Like, our willpower storage is this jar. And when I started with weight loss surgery, my jar was completely empty. Now, I have a friend who has cancer, and it's very stressful for her to be going through all of, the treatments she is, with people not understanding that she's depleted of energy. The chemo and these treatments have really depleted her. And I'm sorry, Addie, but I'm stealing the article that you shared about spoons, because I think that it's a great way to express what willpower is too. So let's imagine that this is my willpower. I have a ton of spoons. I have 8 spoons. And this is what gets me through the day. Every time I resist temptation, I hand over a spoon. Every time I make a good choice instead of the bad choice that I want to make, I give up a spoon. Now, when I started my weight loss journey, my jar was empty. I had no willpower whatsoever. And then I had surgery. And I had to resist temptations for 2 months. I could hardly eat anything. I was sick. I felt awful. Okay, maybe it wasn't 2 months. It was way shorter. But I took that time to stockpile self-discipline. Now, I didn't have a lot. I had maybe about 3. And I would go through the day, and luckily I wasn't eating or doing much at the time. So 3 was enough. And so I'd be driving around with my kids, and instead of going to Starbucks, I drank protein shake. Instead of taking a nap on the couch like I wanted to, I exercised. And instead of making a poor choice at dinner by just eating a carb, I had a carb and protein. So at the end of the day, I was depleted. But the cool thing is, when you wake up in the morning, after you use your willpower and you stay strong all day, You wake up the next morning with more. I had one more piece of willpower the next day. And every single day, it built up and built up and built up until I could go through my day making healthy choices almost all day long. And I wasn't failing. I wasn't making bad choices. I wasn't sitting in front of the TV eating an entire bag of chips, because I discovered self-discipline, because I built it up every single day. Now, self-discipline is this muscle. It is a muscle. It is something that you have to build. But it's also something you have to use every single day. You can't give up on your self-discipline, because it's like building this muscle. You spend 6 months getting this awesome muscle in your arm. You're like, yeah, look at this awesome muscle. And then all you do for the next 6 months is show it off. What's going to happen at the end of that 6 months? Well, your muscle's going to be gone. So, yeah, I have all these spoons. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, yeah, look at all these spoons. I have so much willpower and self-discipline. I'm going to save them. And I go through the day and I don't use them. And what happens? The next day, I wake up and 2 are gone. I have less. You have to continue to work on it every single day. You have to build it and build it and build it. Now, let's talk about, that's loud. Let's talk about what uses willpower up. Now, decisions that we make throughout the day take willpower. They take our self-discipline. They take a little ounce of us every single time we make a choice. Stress is the #1 depleter of willpower. If you are in a stressful situation where your emotions are in control, your willpower will deplete faster. This is why people emotionally eat. And this is pretty funny because, a lot of people think, well, why do I eat when I'm emotional? Why do I eat when I'm stressed? Why do I eat when I'm, overwhelmed? Well, because you have no willpower. You're focusing so much on your emotions that your willpower is gone. So what you have to do is you have to calm your emotions to gain control of your willpower back. This is where I like to meditate. If I'm about to make a really bad decision and I know that temptation is coming and it's strong and I can't avoid it, I try to be as calm as possible. I try to just relax and say, you know what? I'm going to make a good choice. I'm going to make a good choice because my body deserves it. I deserve it. And stress is not going to take over my body anymore. Now, again, that takes practice, and then you're not going to instantly do it. But being conscious of your emotions and how they relate to your self-discipline really helps you be in more control of your emotions. Being in control of your responses. You being aware of how you react and respond to things is the first step in being in control. Now, what else uses willpower? Well, you go throughout the day and you're driving around and you want Jack in the Box, you want any of those things. When you can avoid temptation, you can keep a little bit of a higher storage of willpower. So, if you know that you have a problem with alcohol, if you're, an alcoholic or just someone who, gets a little too drunk when you go out, like me, don't go to bars. There was this time when I was going out too much, and every single time I would get drunk. And it became a problem that I just had no self-discipline. After that first drink went into my body, which is another thing. Alcohol depletes your self-discipline completely. It's like dumping out your spoons and saying, I'm done. I cannot go to bars because my self-discipline was too low. I have to build my self-discipline back up so when I do go out with my friends, I don't make poor choices. When I do go out with my husband, I don't make poor choices. When I go to a restaurant, I have to decide what I'm going to have before I step foot through that door, because I'm going to look at that menu and I'm going to see all those things on that menu and I'm going to want whatever I want. So I decide beforehand, I'm getting a salad. I will get a chicken salad, or I will get the steak salad. I'm going to ask for the dressing on the side, because when you make decisions prior to temptation, it takes less willpower. They call it the if-then theory. If I get in this situation, then I'm going to make this choice before I even get into it. If I forget to bring a lunch to work, then I'm going to not go through the drive-thru, and I'm actually going to go into that deli and get a salad instead. You have to make these decisions beforehand, or you will deplete your willpower when it's already low. When you're stressed, when you're hungry, when you're overwhelmed, when you're tired, your willpower is at its lowest. Try to avoid temptation or make choices beforehand before you get into those situations. Now, how do I get more willpower? Well, you get more willpower by practicing having it. You get more willpower by building more strength, by strengthening your muscle, by using it, and forgiving yourself when you make mistakes. If I went to a baby shower last weekend, and I ate a cupcake. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a big deal to other people, and a lot of people are going to say it's just a cupcake. But you didn't have weight loss surgery, and you don't know what cupcakes do to me, and it doesn't feel good. That was a darn good cupcake, and it was delicious, and it was amazing. But I had one. Now, before I had weight loss surgery, I would have had 2. And then I would have taken 2 home with me and said, they're for my kids, and then eaten them in the car on the way home. I would have eaten 4. Now, I have 1. I used to bake cupcakes and eat half of them myself in my house alone. I don't do that anymore. I avoid the temptation. I don't make cupcakes that often. Yeah, sometimes I still make them because, I love baking. But I bake better things. I bake banana bread, and I bake healthy foods. Avoid temptation. Do not go places where you know you're going to be tempted. Going to my kid's softball game, dude, if you knew me before I had surgery, you knew nachos were my #1 weakness. They are still a massive weakness for me. I have to eat before I go to their games, or I'm going to be like, hey, someone go to the snack bar and give me some nachos. I don't want to gain this weight back. I don't want to be 285 pounds again. So, I'm strengthening myself. Nobody's perfect. Nobody I know that's had weight loss surgery has turned into the perfect example of how a weight loss patient should be. If my surgeon knew everything that I had tried to do since I've had surgery, he would shake his head and be like, what are you doing? But it takes discipline. And I'm learning how to control my behavior. This morning, when I went to put gas in my car, do you know how badly I want to get a bag of Funyuns like I used to? But what did I do? Got a protein bar. Now, of course, be wary of all protein bars. Make sure that it has more than 10 grams of protein and less than 5 grams of sugar, or it can mess your body up and you might as well eat a Snickers. I get protein bars now. I'll get a protein shake instead of a coffee with all the sugar and creamer that I love. Starbucks, yeah, don't let them tell you that skinny and sugar-free syrup is still good for you, because their stuff is still bad for you. It still causes weight gain. You have to avoid temptation. Just because something that you loved before has a slightly healthier version doesn't mean it's good for you. Avoid temptation. If your temptation was in sitting on the couch and eating a jar of an entire can of Pringles, stop buying Pringles. Don't even go down the chip aisle at the store, because you have to avoid the temptation. Like I said, the alcoholic needs to stay out of the bar. The junk food addict needs to stay out of the junk food aisle. And people like me, we have to practice every single day to make the right choices, because my goal is more important than my short-term gratification. So, if you need help building your self-discipline and your willpower, I'm always here. And I know this video got kind of long, but I figured it out. I figured out the secret, and I needed to share it with all of you. If you want some help building your self-discipline and your willpower, of course, visit my website, www.thehappiestwomanalive.com. You can go to my Facebook, Lauren Vento, Life Coach at The Happiest Woman Alive. You can find me. Post a comment on here. I will help you. Send me an email, lauren@thehappiestwomanalive.com. I will get back to you. We will work it out. I can coach you through building your willpower and self-discipline and being that person you always wanted to be. Don't give up. Don't feel guilty. Forgive yourself for making mistakes, because right now is a moment that you can choose to resist temptation. So be strong, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.